welcome to Books and Beasties. My name is Sarah Newland. I am a licensed veterinary technician and an award-winning young adult fiction author. And Books and Beasties is really a combination of those two major passions in my life. So this is a bookish discussion where we will be taking a look at how some of our favorite animal characters actually impact the plot and character development in some of our favorite books. And with animals playing such a huge role in our daily lives, especially my daily life, it's my career, it really makes sense that they would play a big role in our fictional lives too. So here we're going to be taking a look at, I'm going to chat a little bit about the author first, give you just a little bit of background, then I'll give you a spoiler-free insight into the plot of the book itself, so basically the premise and how our beastie fits in, and then we will jump into taking a look at our beastie of the day. And today we are going to be talking about Emily Lloyd Jones's novel, The Drowned Woods. Just a little bit about Lloyd Jones first. So she has actually written several young adult and middle grade fiction novels, including one called The Bone Houses, which is actually set in the same magical Welsh world as The Drowned Woods. They're not directly connected. Our characters never meet, but there are just a few little Easter egg type hints in there that, if you know, you know, and it's really exciting to uncover those. And I will be covering The Bone Houses here on another episode, but Emily has a bachelor's in English and a master's in publishing, and I actually came across her through Instagram. So I had seen The Drowned Woods coming out just before it got released. It's just some various promo things and some bookstores I was visiting, and I was definitely intrigued. It was on my list of books to read. I started following her on social media, and in all of the chaos of what happens before a book release, Emily posted a trailer, like a mock trailer of her book, featuring the dog, who is a secondary, arguably tertiary character. He is not strictly a main character by any means. However, the trailer was all about how this one kingdom needs a hero, and then you just see this corgi butt and tail bobbing through this wildflower field, and I'm pretty sure I placed my pre-order that day. I was entirely hooked. I thought it was genius. It was hilarious. I love corgis, and I didn't even know that there was a animal component to the book until I saw that trailer, so it was really cool. And I have been an avid reader ever since. So I read The Drowned Woods, immediately picked up Bone Houses after that. So it's really interesting. You never know how you're going to connect with someone, and instant bond over the corgi. Now, just a little bit about The Drowned Woods itself before we jump into the importance of Trevor. The Drowned Woods takes place in the dangerous and magical kingdom of Wales, and Welsh mythology is a rich topic, and Emily Lloyd Jones really jumps in with both feet. And we start off with our main character, Mare, who is a water diviner, so she has some water controlling powers that is highly sought after, as she is the last one, and she's been abused for her power, and had to do some things that she wasn't under the full awareness of what she was actually doing. So she's been manipulated, she's been abused, and she is looking to get out of town. She is done, she's over it. However, she doesn't have the means to do so. You kind of have to have money to run away and start a new life. So when the opportunity presents itself to pull off essentially the heist of a lifetime that comes with not only starting a new life for herself, but also a little bit of revenge at the person who kind of screwed her over in the first place, yes, she jumps at it. And it is an edge of your seat story with tons of twists and turns. A beautiful example of found family and betrayal, and discovering your values as you go through different experiences. And sometimes our values change when we start out on a journey versus the end of a journey, depending on our situation. So that's definitely the case for Mare, where she ends up having to make some really hard choices about her future based on what's happening around her. And learning that the people that we think are our friends aren't always our friends, unless they're corgis. Then they're always our friends. And finally, on to our beastie of the hour, Trevor. So really, Trevor is your average adorable fluffball corgi. He is mischievous. He does not have any major powers. He can't talk or anything like that, with the exception that he sneezes a lot around magic. He's kind of allergic. But corgis play a huge role in Welsh mythology, as they were called dwarf dogs, are called dwarf dogs, and were believed to have been created specifically for the fairies, mostly as a spy. So there is a lot of suspicion with Trevor in this book about his intentions, even though he is just a tail-wagging, slobbery, wiggle butt corgi. You see a lot of interactions with like extremely extended characters that, our main characters are just passing by, where they don't want to say or do certain things in front of the corgi because he might run off and tell the fairies. So there's a ton of little Welsh lore aspects to the story, that being one of them. And while Trevor doesn't have a lot in terms of being special beyond being his lovable corgi magic sneezing self, he plays a huge role in the interlacing of our plot and our main characters. First and foremost, Trevor is an excellent source of comic relief for the reader. I mean, he's a mischievous little pup that, while corgis have a long, though not tall, standing history in Welsh lore, he is classic dog. He has a serious leather boot obsession and is constantly after people's shoes, even when they're still attached to their feet, and will have the most tense moments, very serious discussions happening between our characters, and Trevor's just being Trevor and going after your boots. And I think that is one of the most true to life examples of a dog in a book that I've seen, because it doesn't just happen one time, it happens repeatedly. And I mean, as a vet tech, I have seen owners struggle with dogs with habits that they just can't kick. Like you just have to lock those shoes up because he's coming for him. He's like Stitch with the left shoes. He's just got to get him. And it's just a beautiful example of dog being dog. Mare and Fane do, just like any other relationship, build most of their friendship through shared experiences. Most of them life or death in this case, because we're on a little adventure here. But that's how all of our friendships and relationships are built, is through shared experience. And while that's what ultimately brings them together, that is not how they get the conversation started. The conversation is started with Trevor. Both Fane and Mare have their own reasons to be untrusting of others. So Mare, being the last living water diviner, she knows people want to abuse her for her power. She's experienced it firsthand, and she really doesn't have that much of an interest in using her powers at all, especially under anyone else's recommendation. And Fane, he's been paying the price for a mistake made years ago, and is essentially cursed by the fairies. So he is also, neither of them are on really solid footing to be making friendships with anyone. So when Fane first meets Mare, he instantly knows she's hiding something, because he doesn't know that she's a water diviner. That's, something that comes up later, but he knows something's up because Trevor keeps sneezing. And he knows that Trevor is allergic to magic. And so he knows she's hiding something, but he doesn't know if like she's magical or if she just has like a magical artifact on her. But there's something suspicious happening. And yet, he agrees to join up with her crazy heist plan anyway. Why? Because Trevor loves her. Like, goes over and shows his belly and wants all the pets and is obsessed with Mare. And as someone who has firsthand experience with a dog who loves everyone suddenly not liking someone, yeah, you're gonna trust your dog's instincts. It's, animals are such a huge judge of character, so your corgi is literally telling you, yeah, she's cool, it's fine. So he knows even though she's hiding something, it's not big enough to deter the corgi, therefore we can proceed. I think my favorite part about this bond between dog and human and dog making the decision to trust someone is that Emily Lloyd-Jones has it go both ways. Trevor is not Mare's dog by any means, and yet on multiple occasions throughout this story, Mare makes the decision to trust Fane because of how he treats his dog. And as humans, I think that's something we do a lot without thinking about it. If someone is really nice to animals, then we kind of figure like, okay, yeah, they're a good person, right? Like that's just, you care for animals, you are a good person. For some reason, that is just highly correlated in our brains. It's like taking care of a baby. And that just instantly clicked for her. And Emily Lloyd-Jones, she has this happen repeatedly throughout the story, but she wants this so apparent to the reader that she actually goes out and just spells it out for you. One of my favorite quotes is Mare reflecting later on in the story that Fane treated his dog with unwavering gentleness. That made her trust him far more than anything he could have said. And it's, actions speak louder than words. And yeah, if you snuggle and hug the dog and let him steal shoes and not beat him with a newspaper, then yes, we're gonna say you're a good person and you can be trusted. So in a very brief summary, first of all, I highly recommend this book if you have not read it. More Than the Corgi, it's a great book. Character development, plot, it's extremely well done. Bone Houses is also great. Different vibe, but very, very good book. And I think for me personally, a big reason for me to love this book is because Trefor the Corgi is, encapsulating the human-animal bond into corgi-sized fluffness, building a long and low bridge between two strangers and, making it into a whole adventure and covering all of Wales with teeth marks and drool, at least all their shoes. And it's a fantastic read. If you haven't checked it out, please do, and please leave me your thoughts because I'm dying to gush over this book with other people. Finally, I like to leave you with a bit of a vet tech tidbit, and this episode's tidbit is actually going to be about the tail situation on corgis. So, at least in America, I feel like the most predominant corgi breed we see is the Pembroke corgi, and they are the ones that most people say they don't have tails. They have a nub. It's very, very short and it's very tucked and you can normally hardly ever see it. Normally, on a lot of them, their fur is so long that you often can't see it. However, there's a misconception that corgis are born this way. They're not born this way. The tail is lost in a procedure called tail docking when they're itty bitty puppies, normally between 3 and 5 days old. And it was started originally as a preventative measure. So, corgis herd traditionally. and spy for the fairies. But when they're herding, the farmers did not want their corgis' tails getting stepped on by sheep or cows or whatever else they're herding. So it started off as a preventative measure to go ahead and dock the tail when they're itty bitty, so that then they don't have a tail, or at least not one long enough to get stepped on. And then some other less practical reasons came about. For a while, it was thought that the tail docking prevented rabies. That is very much not true. A rabies vaccine prevents rabies. That's about it. And not letting a mammal bite you. However, regardless of what the reason is, the cardigan Welsh Corgi is most easily distinguished because it has a tail. But they are both born with tails. And, Trevor's obviously the cardigan. However, and I know there's going to be somebody who says that they have a corgi that was naturally born with a little tail. And I am sure there are individuals, because of science and genetic differentiation, I am sure individuals exist with a naturally short tail. 99% of them are docked. And this is really more of just like a PSA or an FYI more than a tidbit, I guess. It's not a tip. It's just for your knowledge, they're not born that way. They're docked. And personally, I love a tail. Let's bring back the tail, okay? It's so cute, and when they wag it and it curls up on, most of them curl so hard it like touches their back. Absolutely adorable. Also, from the vet tech side of things, just saying, the tail is docked at 3 to 5 days old. We're not putting puppies under anesthesia when they're 3 to 5 days old, unless it is for a life-saving surgery. So just percolate on that. So tail docking is being done awake. Let's not tail dock. Let's just not do it. It's mostly done for aesthetics at this point, which I feel like in, the 21st century, I think we can move past aesthetics, okay? Tails are cute. Let's rock the tail.